Hey guys, just finished watching Black Lightning, Season 1, Episode 8, The Book of Revelations. This episode was an interesting episode. I mean, there was, you get the whole Gammy reveal and stuff, and it was a fun episode. I just would have preferred a little bit more action involved here, because there wasn't much Black Lightning. I mean, he never suited up, she never put on the costume, and Gammy has still not working on the costume and stuff. And with this episode, the show only getting 13 episodes, and we're already on episode 8. We still only have like 4 or 5 episodes left. It's really going to be interesting to see at what point do they make the costume, and did they make it? Obviously they made the costume knowing for season 2, but did they put all that money into a costume just to have it only like a few episodes with her actually wearing it? So we open up with this episode with Black Lightning. He's still wanted by the police. He's still the primary suspect for the murder and stuff. Black Lightning is training his daughter. Jefferson's training Anissa Pierce. Lawanda. And we get Lala is back, and he's kind of hallucinating Lawanda White throughout the whole episode, which is interesting with that, playing with that inside of him. We get Gamby, who ends up meeting Martin Proctor. I tried Googling Martin Proctor from the comics to try and see if there's any connection to where he was from the comics, or even ASA in the comics, and there's really not much that really comes up to it, at least in the wiki pages. They didn't merit a full-on page for the wiki, so who knows how much. I guess they're not really that prominent in the comic books other than this Black Lightning story. And then they talk about how that they're part of the the ASA organization, and in the comics the ASA stands for American Security Agency, and I think that's what they play with that in this show. Who knows if they're going to change it for there, but it'd be probably the same idea, since they did say he was worked for a government agency, and we find out that Freeland was actually an experiment and stuff. Black Lightning and Thunder go to take a look at Eve's body, which was weird. I don't know why they didn't do it with any costumes on, any sort of costume to cover themselves. Not even a mask or a ski mask or something like that, to make it look like they're doing something else. I mean, if you wear a regular ski mask, maybe it looks like you're just breaking in for something totally unrelated type thing, or make yourself look like you're one of the 100s breaking in for something, instead of just walking in plain clothes. And then it's just like, why is the principal of Freeland, why is he breaking into this place type thing? And so it was cool with that. It's also cool with Anissa, seeing her kind of learning slowly to kind of control her powers, and how much power, she just touches the brick wall, it's not enough to break it type thing. But if she had touched it a bit harder, maybe it would have been to break a little bit more. So I think it was interesting with that, her slowly kind of play with that and learning her powers. Then we get Jennifer starts to learn her powers when her friend kind of falls from the scaffolding, and she kind of burns her phones and burns the papers. That's kind of cool. That's gonna be cool to play with that, how she's gonna look. Now, if I'm not mistaken, in the comics, whenever she doesn't really have a suit type so much as far as she kind of like her whole body, she kind of flies around type thing. Her whole body becomes a costume type thing, kind of like Iceman and stuff like that, where they don't really have, those characters don't have costumes, but their just body is kind of, their body becomes full lightning. So that's going to be cool to see that, and hopefully we can get a very comic accurate version of that. And I think it's really cool to see that. And in this version so far, it looks like it's a little bit more fire than kind of lightning. So we'll have to wait and see how things kind of develop with her powers, and how they become more until she becomes lightning powers, or maybe I need to relook at some of the backstory of hers. I mean, like I said, I haven't really read too much Black Lightning comics before this, so now I definitely want to be looking into their history online and seeing more and diving deep into that, and reading a bit more on the internet about her before getting into this, just to kind of really see what kind of her powers are, because at this point it seems a bit more, heat wave or Heatwave. I think that guy reminds me a lot of that one guy, Magma from Days of Future Past, that movie type of thing. So she reminds me a little bit more like that, where it was kind of more like lava powers than actual lightning powers. So that's gonna be cool to play with that. And then we find out that someone's working on, or actually Lynn Pierce, actually, she finds out that someone's been working on Greenlight for the past 30 years. And that kind of, we find out, we already knew that, knowing that the ASA were the ones who created Greenlight, and they were, using it to make it, to experiment on Freeland and stuff. So that's interesting with that. And we get the Black Lightning, Thunder, and Thunder, they find the guy who killed, or one of the guys who killed Lady Eve, dead in the woods type thing, and that was really interesting with that. And they call the police and stuff, and he calls Jefferson, or went to face the police as Black Lightning and stuff. They bring him over, and then that guy comes over and ends up touching the thing and ends up blowing it up. So it's unclear whether or not that guy was kind of... It seems like that guy was someone sent over by the 100, or maybe someone sent by Tobias that was meant to explode and do that and get rid of the stuff. I don't know. You couldn't just... It was interesting to see how things were going with that. You want to just tell him to kind of shoot the gun from afar away when he sees it, and then it'll explode, and he'll just be able to move on type thing. So that was interesting with that. Unclear if that guy was a cop or whatnot. So it'd be cool to see how that kind of gets resolved. Does that, is there, now that there's no more evidence, now that there's no more stuff, is it still going to get, the police involved into it? Or is it there just going to be, some little explosion here, nothing really we can do, no leads, no nothing? Or is there still something there that kind of promotes an investigation that kind of can make people look into it and finding out who was there the last time? And that's where people they're going to be able to connect it to the 100 or connect it to whoever was actually doing that, or connecting it to Tobias Wells, and that's going to be cool to play with that. And then just before it explodes, Thunder actually saves Black Lightning. Gambi ends up telling Black Lightning everything about his past. And then Jennifer tells Anissa about her powers at the end of the episode. So the Gambi revealing with the past and stuff, it was interesting with that, playing on the fact that he kind of gave his father, Jefferson's father, the information, and that's what got him killed. I think it was interesting with that, how, he's kind of not directly involved, and he wasn't the guy who physically pulled the trigger, but he kind of was involved, and I think that's kind of interesting like that, to play with that way. And it just makes me want to read about how that happened in the comics. Like, it was Gambi the actual person who killed him, who held the gun and pulled the trigger, or how was things going on with that, just so that he could keep his job, or not get, not go become become a fugitive of the United States type thing. So I think that was interesting with the play with that, and how that's going to continue on, and where things are going to go from here, and how they're going to take down the whole ASA. And does that mean that Tobias Wells, was he working for ASA? I mean, if he knew that, did he know that that Lady Eve was working with the ASA, and how is that going to play in for the future episodes? And on next week's episode, it looks like Anissa, or Jennifer, we'll be kind of learning that her father is Black Lightning, and it's unclear. It looks like either her mother or Anissa is the one who tells her that her father's Black Lightning. So that'd be cool to play with that, and then eventually, maybe by the end of this episode, we can get the three of them in their full costumes fighting together, and literally have the full family getting costumes. And at that point, it's just like, why not also give Lynn some sort of costume? Or she could definitely be cool to have her take over the Gambi role now that Jefferson is no longer no longer talking to Gambi and stuff like that. And I think that's going to be cool to play with that. And then going into a season 2, maybe that's where you kind of start bringing their relationship back together. But for now, in this season, with only a few episodes left, 5 episodes left, you don't really have, there's not much really left there for them time to get to Jefferson and Gambi's relationship back together. Now I can see them working together here and here, getting some information, and just being like, hey, got some information or whatever. Or maybe even Lynn taking over as kind of, I want to say, like the Chloe Sullivan of the team type thing, the Overwatch, the Oracle of the team. And then having, maybe Gambi is able to give some information to Lynn, and she's willing to kind of use that information to send Black Lightning and Thunder and Lightning and out there with him and stuff. So I think that's going to be cool to play with that, and how that kind of relationship plays on, because they still need, Black Lightning. He's not going to want to, Jefferson's not going to want to talk to Gambi or have anything to do with Gambi, but they're still going to need his information. The fact that he knows stuff and he's trying to change stuff, and they're still going to need it. They're not going to know what to trust and all that stuff. But I think after revealing everything, I could see Lynn kind of believing in him a little bit more with his stuff and looking into the stuff. So I think that's really going to be cool to play with all that, and seeing how that relationship goes between the three of them and the family, and everyone finding out that he's, the whole family now being the superhero family. And I think that's really going to be cool. It's going to be interesting to see if Jennifer gets a costume. And at this point, Thunder doesn't have a costume. Anissa doesn't have a costume just yet. She still has her prototype costume. But we'll have to wait and see if Anissa actually gets a full-on costume, not just a prototype costume, but a Gambi-made costume, or one that's, full, an actual costume full. 100% fully costume type thing. I think that's really going to be cool to play with that and see how if we get the three of them in the costume. I feel like we might, if not at least getting Jennifer in a prototype costume by the end of the season, since they have been advertising this as like the first black superhero family show. So that's the interesting ideas about that, is that you may have had other characters on TV, even on other probably the first black superhero. I can't think of another black superhero show, but this is also that separates. Not only does he is he just, it's a black superhero show, it's also a family show, and that's one thing that they kind of make it sound different than other shows. I mean, I think they've done that before, family superhero show, but I think in this type of idea from the DC Comics, I think it's a little bit different with that, because I think they did do S.H.I.E.L.D. with Michael Chiklis and stuff, but I don't remember, and I never really watched that thing at all, because it wasn't my Marvel or DC related, so I didn't really care for it. So other than that, it was an interesting episode playing with this, and I can't wait to see where things go with this. I really like to see, I think Jennifer's powers look really interesting, look really fun to play with. I definitely can't wait to see how things continue on, and hopefully we can get some more Black Lightning going on in next week's episode. At least, if not him in costume, at least have him do stuff. And I like it, like when they play around with the different powers and using the powers in different ways that are kind of in more imaginative ways. Like in Flash, when they do different things, when he runs on water, he runs up inside the building, or he uses his speed to kind of to stop people and bring him into Flash time. That's something that it's way thinking outside of the box, and it's an imaginative way that the audience, to kind of surprise the audience. Oh wow, that's a cool way to using that power. I never would have thought of using this or that power this way. And I think that's really when it's fun playing with that, and having all kinds of different characters already in episode 8 of season 1. I think that's really going to be cool to play with that, and how they can use their powers, interchange it together. And I think it really would be cool to see that and how that would play on. So all in all, this was a fun episode. I just would have liked to see a little bit more action and less kind of drama, but that's what this episode is really about. A little bit more action now, and kind of want to see some more fighting and all that stuff. And kind of would be cool if they went all out with this episode. If you're kind of trying to, it seems like with this show, they're trying to kind of compete a little bit with the Netflix Marvel shows. And so if you're going to do that, then do the Netflix Marvel thing and do the hallway fight, the one-take fight. I think that would be really cool to do that. And you could do a one-take fight that, and you put your cuts in there, but you hide it because you have the lightning and the fire and the superpowers that Daredevil and those shows don't have, because they just have strong and invincibility. No one really shoots fire or anything over on the Defenders, but here you could do a whole long one-take hallway scene, and then put a cut in the middle of there. You make it look like there was no cut, but there actually was, because Black Lightning blinded everyone or type thing, and then it looks like a one-take thing. And I think that could be really cool to do that and have like a one-take fight scene, just a Black Lightning in a hallway, and actually making it that long would be interesting to do that. Although it's different because they're kind of limited to the whole 43 minutes episodes, whereas Netflix can, they can make an hour and a half episode if they wanted to. There's no limit to that. So in here it's a little bit kind of different. So all in all, this episode was okay. Just needs a little bit more action and bring up the action at this point. So hopefully they can do that in next week's episode, and we can get all three of them by the end of the episode training together, and that would be quite fun with that. And also, where again, still it doesn't get the idea is, where does Gamby get the money to make this training simulation, this holographic training simulation, this kind of like Danger Room style thing? Like, where does he get this money? Yes, he's secretly working for a government agency and stuff, but he can't be taking that money and paying, and you're putting that money to make Black Lightning his suit, to make Thunder her suit, to make Jennifer her suit, and making all these suits and stuff, and then using it to heal him, using it for X-ray machines to heal him, and all these different things that are all this kind of underground cave. He can't put that on his government credit card. He can't put that on his government bank account. He can't put those expenses to the government. So where is he getting the money for that part? That's where I want to know, what is he doing for that, where are they going in for that? I mean, they must be looking into it and keeping an eye on him, and they would never come around and see that he has a secret Black Lightning cave underneath his shop. I mean, come on. What is that? Is that shop actually, if it is for the government, part of the government stuff, what is it for, What did the government think that he's doing? What does the ASA think that basement underneath his shop is for, Where that's going to go? And that would be cool to get to answer all that question, and then that would make sense. Okay, he could use a little money just to make the suit, but the whole cave is kind of part of it. The whole cave is all in the up and up, and the government, the ASA, know all about it, and they just think he's researching the green light stuff. So I think that could be interesting, cool to play with that, but I just would get some confirmation as to really where does he get all that money for down there, because it looks like that stuff down there would be millions of dollars. I mean, it's really at least $1 million invested in all that high-tech gear and all this stuff, and need to get a little bit more on Gamby instead of just this one time where he says a few things. That's it. I'd like to get a whole flashback with it. So it looks like we might be getting that in the next week's episode. Hopefully we do. It really could answer some question as to how he paid for all the tech downstairs of his shop. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. Season 1, Episode 8, the Book of Revelations, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.